what herbs are best for postpartum recovery? This is an awesome question because my wife and I, earlier this year, had a home birth. And I got to become the doula in a sense, like the husband doula. Not calendula, like calendula, but we used that too. And it was a great honor. It was a great honor for me to be able to take what I know as an herbalist and as a man and be of service to my wife, a woman, a mother in a vulnerable state. And I think that this is such a great question. I could feel my heart fluttering just thinking about what a special time that was. Okay. So immediately after the child was born, like seconds later, we administered 2 milliliters of Angelica tincture. And Angelica, we did a really cool herb walk with HerbRally on Angelica and the signatures of Angelica and how it is really helpful for loosening the placenta and how you see that in the signatures. So Angelica loosened the placenta. Placenta comes, that's after birth. And then now we got to stop the bleeding. So we administered some shepherd's purse tincture and homeopathic arnica. And so this was like ground zero, moment after birth, right? Baby goes to mama, everyone's crying, next day, next few days. This is typically where a doula would show up or continue the treatment, and probably more relevant to the question. And so we were thinking about a couple of things. Supporting breast milk, supporting reducing the amount of bleeding, and supporting sleep/nervous system recovery, all these types of things. So I would say, like, it's not polite to say typical birth, but a birth without multiple complications and all these things. Let's just talk about in that particular way. So I had some packs pre-made, and they had loose herbs. They were made in, like, you can do it in muslin cloths. They don't necessarily need to be packs, but I really like the packs. And they were going to be sitz baths / muslin cloths that you can use as a compress, compress onto the vaginal area. And then you could also wring them out and use them again and whatnot. So I found that the compresses were really good. And then what we actually did was we use tea bags from Rishi Tea, and they have these really long tea bags that are like that long. And so they could fit a ton of herbs in them. And they're the only tea bags that I've ever found that are like organic, biodegradable hemp, no microplastics, no crap or creepy stuff in them. Like every single tea bag I've ever researched has always had like something that's like a little creepy, whether it's bleached or whether it's like non-organic or whatever. So I really like these Rishi tea bags because of all of that is good, and packed them with a bunch of herbs, stapled them, using them to make a compress, using them to make a sitz bath combination, blah, blah, blah. And in those, we would put calendula, I would put shepherd's purse, I would put yarrow. So calendula, shepherd's purse, yarrow. I'll start with shepherd's purse and yarrow are there for the hemostatic. They're stringing the excess bleeding. Yarrow is helping also with bruising and any other type of traumatic damage to the tissues. Same with calendula, but calendula doesn't necessarily help so much with the bleeding as it does with helping to heal wounds. Okay, where was I? All right, calendula, shepherd's purse, yarrow, plantain, along with calendula is really going to help with healing, stimulating tissue regeneration. We know all about those as herbalists, or even beginning herbalists, the value of plantain and calendula in wounds. Rose, because it's lovely, because rose also is kind of astringent. and some lavender buds and some chamomile. I really like using chamomile. I really like working with chamomile. Always got to, I'm so programmed to take, consume. It's going to take a while to deprogram. I've been working on it for years. So I really like working with chamomile when there is any need for healing wound as well. It's just very gentle. Let's see here. Okay, so that was in the compress. Those ratios were just some of this, some of that, some of this, some of that. Seemed to work. If you have a lot of bleeding, I would add a lot more shepherd's purse, and I would add a lot more yarrow. Okay, and then we have a really, really awesome formula for breast milk enhancement. I have a couple of different things. I have a tea that's called Milky Way, and I have a churna, which is powdered herbs. That's, you can just take a powdered herb and put it into a cup and drink it down. It's kind of chalky and it's not as lovely as drinking a cup of tea. And that's called mother's milk. And the mother's milk is 3 herbs, and it's fenugreek and shatavari and fennel. And my tea has those as well, but it also has blessed thistle and red clover and some other things like that. And so many types of herbs that are galactagogues, or that have this action of enhancing breast milk production through either relaxing tension, or through the aromatic component, or through working on the hormonal level. And they work great. They work fantastic. I think it's really important to have something like that on hand and ready to go. And then also a salve of some kind, like an all-purpose healing salve without any essential oils. So make a really nice healing salve. There's, tons of recipes, even on HerbRally's channel. You could find calendulas, plantain, rose, chamomile, put them into a jar with some oil, make yourself a salve. That's going to be good for the baby's butt. That's going to be good for nipples. And you really want to make sure that there's no essential oils in there. So if you're putting it on nipples, that can make that can create something that's going, like, it alters the mother's smell. So things that keep a baby from latching are the unfamiliarity of the smell, or bitterness, anything like that. Having a nipple salve, having a baby butt salve, having a salve. Let's have a salve. A salve shares the same root word as save, as in salvation, salvator. So a salvation, having a salvation. I thought you might appreciate that little factoid, Catholic doula channel. Let's see here. What else was super important? Oh my gosh. It was earlier this year, but after 10 months of lack of sleep, I can barely remember. Should have wrote this one down. There was some things that I thought were extremely important, but I guess they weren't. So, and then also just nutrition, just nutritional things, nutritive herbs, and so on. Great question.